Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the NUS Biz e-Open House live panel. In case you are just tuning in, we are broadcasting live from the atrium here at our very own business building, Mokhtar Raidi building. Today we are very excited to bring you the NUS Biz e-Open House Be Agile, Be You at Business School, the place where you get to experience a journey of self-discovery and developing skills to be career ready. Now we have just ended our previous session on accountancy, and now we are changing gears to answer your questions on the NUS Real Estate program. I'm Joel Lee, a year 4 real estate student currently in my final semester, and with me in this session I have the following panel members: Associate Professor Cristian Badarinza, Real Estate Professor, as well as Associate Director from BIZCareers, Mr. Eddie Phua. Together we'll be sharing with you more about what our unique real estate program has to offer. Now, as a real estate student myself, I found myself with tons of questions when I was applying for this program. So if you find yourself in a similar position like me, do feel free to leave your comments and questions in our Facebook Live comment section, and we'll do our best to answer as many of your enquiries as possible. Now, before we kickstart the session, let's have our panel members give a short introduction of themselves, starting with Professor Cristian.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Cristian Badarinza. I'm an Associate Professor in the Department of Real Estate. And I'm glad to hear your questions. I'm glad to talk to you about real estate, and introduce you to our community.
Right. Oh, okay. So my name is Eddie. I'm a career advisor from the NUS Business School and from the undergrads career advisory team. So what we do here is we work very closely with employers in hiring our students, as well as hosting a lot of career events, recruitment fairs and so forth. And important part of our job is career advisory, where we train students on resume writing, interviewing skills, personal branding, job strategy and so forth. And what I do take care of is sectors like real estate, energy sectors, manufacturing and chemicals. Yes, over to you, Joel.
Okay, thank you for the great introductions. Okay, now before we start the session, I think one of the most popular questions that our prospective students have is actually, what is real estate? So perhaps, Professor Cristian, you would like to share more with us about what the world of real estate actually entails.
Of course, my pleasure. So maybe I can also rephrase a bit your question with the one that we have behind us, which is, where does real estate take me? And what I would say immediately is, it takes you to a community. In fact, it takes you to 3 different communities. Okay, one is the community of urban planners. It's everything we see around us, of course, in Singapore and around the world. It's the kind of people that design it and that look after it, right? So this is one domain where our students end up, where they train to be the experts in this field. The second community that you have a chance to be part of is the community of real estate finance professionals and investors. So when I enter a shopping mall, I do my chores, but always on the back of my mind is the contracting, is the financing, is the banks that has supported that development. It's the kind of zoning and planning that has facilitated the location of that shopping mall in that particular place within this city. It's the transportation links that lead people to that shopping mall. It's the decision to have the MRT station exactly at the basement of that shopping mall, right? So this is the kind of decisions that real estate finance professionals have to deal with. The idea can be fantastic, but unless you can realize it, unless you have the business skills, we are in a business course, so unless you have the business skills, acumen, and also the financing and the relationships, the network to be able to deploy the solutions, nothing will ever happen, right? So this is the community of real estate finance investors and finance professionals. And finally, the community of developers. Again, we see around us how real estate stock, commercial, residential, industrial, retail, all the entertainment venues, all the education venues like New York, like this building, they have to be developed. There's a process which takes many years from the inception phase all the way to when people first start using it. That process needs a clear mind and very clear skills to take you from the inception phase all the way to the handover. So these are the 3 communities that you have a chance to be part of, and I'm sure we'll talk about the curriculum as well. What we do is we train you, to enjoy, right? To have a profession that you enjoy to be part of, and to create the real estate that we all live in.
Well, thank you, Professor. That was really a very insightful answer. Now, just taking a look at the questions here, I think another very popular question that we have is what kind of career prospects are available for our real estate students? Perhaps, Mr. Eddie, you'd like to share more on that?
Sure. I think the first thing is, the good news is, based on our MOEGS employment survey, right, 99% of our students actually land employment within the first 6 months of graduation, with 96% landing in full-time employment, right? So career prospects wise, I could say that about 50% of the students will land in the real estate sector, another 30% in the public sector, 10% in finance, and the balance 10% in a few industries, right? Within the real estate sector, generally you will see jobs in particular MA programs, management associate programs with developers, analysts in fund management and asset management firms, and then you have the valuers, commercial leasing, you have roles like research analysts, right, and so forth, valuation and more. Within the public sectors, well, the few key government agencies that will hire real estate students are SLA, URA, IRAS, and you have LTA, and you have HDB, right? And roles like valuers, again, valuation, you see planners, and HDB estate managers, right? And within a round of, let me see, what else? But most importantly, I guess, one more thing to add is these companies also hires our students for internship, where they do summer internship as well as credit-bearing internship across semesters. With that, actually, it gives the students the real work that's happening in the industries with that exposure, and therefore making it easier, a lot easier for them to decide on their career path and finally a graduation role. I hope that answered the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Eddie. It's great to know that there's a diverse set of opportunities waiting for students in both the private and public sector. So I'm taking a look at the questions here, and we actually have a question about real estate. So is it only for the local scene, or can it be applied globally? And second, are there any exchange programs available for our students?
Let me start with that. Local versus international, right? So part of the reason why Singapore has been successful in terms of education is because we are very open. So we are not only very open to learn, but we are also very open to share, right? And if you look around, nowadays it's difficult to find a panel at all levels in terms of sustainable development or urban issues, but even in terms of investment forums and so on, where some ideas from Singapore are not mentioned, as examples of good practice, or we as experts are invited to participate. So NUS contributes to the world. The ideas that are developed at NUS are visible around the world, and at the same time we are open to the world in the sense that we look around, we look at sustainable, we look at solutions that lead us forward, and we absorb them into our curriculum, into our case studies, and then of course into the way we train our students to be present on the market. It's not unusual for our students to do exchange programs and internships. I've myself organized, in fact, a very a fantastic trip even for myself to London with some students, where we have seen the local development, we have seen some projects that were really growing. As far as I know, students have brought back a lot of inspiration from that. The international aspect is very, very appreciated in our department and in the business school.
Thank you, Professor. That was indeed a very detailed answer. Now, unfortunately, time is catching up with us, so we do have to wrap up the session here. However, not to worry, we have a full host of live programs lined up just for you today. So stay tuned in 10 minutes' time for the next session, where we answer your questions on marketing and human capital management. There's also lots to explore on our website, including program briefing clips, curriculum details, and FAQs. And if you have additional questions, do feel free to drop us an email or leave your questions in the comment section, and we'll do our best to answer as many of them as possible. These videos will also be uploaded on our e-open house website, so make sure you check them out. Oh, and for those of you who are not aware, we're also having our NUS open house this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at NUS University Town at the dance studio located in Stephen Rayadi Center. So do come down, check it out, and our professors, staff, and students will be there to answer any inquiries that you may have. Now, with that being said, I'm Joel, together with Associate Professor Cristian
Thanks,
and
everyone.
Mr. Eddie. We thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, and see you there.
See you.